Powerful women have always been feared. And if this found you, you probably can resonate with this. And I am going to share what are the origins of this fear? And why do you keep attracting it like a moth to the flame? And how can you actually use this fear to increase your wealth, your beauty, your health? Because I find that a lot of women who are powerful will avoid being seen, will avoid really exuding their power. And this is not just a you problem. This is you learning and understanding, where does this wound come from? This is the witch wound. The witch is a woman who is not cruel. She just can't be controlled. She is a woman who has agency over her sensuality, her senses. She collects in information through the way her body feels around people, the way her perhaps auditory gifts can hear what is not being said, the way her dreams can reveal the visions for her wealth. These are the women that have supernatural gifts and abilities. And I'm just here to tell you that all women have this gift. To me, women are these ancient beings that have been able to protect wisdom and lineages. And every single woman has a certain power and resource to her. But it is important that we get comfortable with this label, this title of witch, that we also understand where this has come from and how it maybe is even in your lineage, and what you can do to reclaim this energy, not in a just cute hocus pocus way, but actually make some boss moves with this. Get comfortable being feared. Get comfortable and maybe even desired when those moments and those rhythms of the town and the groups and social media and the hate and whatever, get comfortable with that, because it comes with the territory of really being in your sovereignty, being in your sense of security, being comfortable in your wealth and in your beauty, and not needing the outside approval of a village that is still very rooted in that witch hunt mentality. So let's drop in, my loves, and we're going to shape shift in a very practical way, because spooky season and Halloween isn't just for cosplaying witches and vampires and projecting our fear of what these lores and stories are, but I want you to understand the roots of it, so that way you can reclaim some of those parts of yourself and get a little bit more fangs in whatever you do, whatever industry, and run it. Run it like the enchantress, the witch, the sovereign one that you are. So if you're a nerd like me, we study words. Why? Because words are spells. They carry energy. Your voice is so powerful, it is a spell. Anything that comes out of your mouth is enchanting or condemning anything that you want in your life. And so that right there is a witch in her form. That is someone who understands the power of her energy. Whatever you speak becomes your reality, right? And the word witch, how we're using it now, comes from the practice of Wicca. Wicca uses the word witch to define a woman as wise. A wise woman understands the rhythm of her cycles, the rhythm of the earth. She understands how to heal herself and others. She has the power of knowledge that was not accessible to a lot of people. She's someone that is well versed in psychology. She's someone that is well versed in animals and connecting not just with commerce, but also the supernatural. And I've always been taught that it's better to be feared as a woman than to be accepted when you're a coward to your path. Because when you really own your path, you will have to own all parts of yourself. The disciplined, the one who doesn't allow people to access her energy, the one that is very conscientious of her time, the one that does not play into the games of cat and mouse and these polite politics or dimming your light. This type of woman is feared because, again, she cannot be controlled. She cannot be contained. Instead, she must be maintained in frequency, in respect, in clarity, in honesty, in truth. And this type of archetype of woman, especially in the year 2025, is a phenomenon. She is the energy of, I will do this for myself because I don't need to fit into a box. I do this for myself because I trust the visions on my mind versus the beliefs that have tried to be integrated into me and brainwash me out of my power. So yeah, babes, if you are being feared, then you're on the right path. If there are things that are being rumored about you, you are on the right path. If you're getting hate from places, you are on the right path. Now, this doesn't mean that we neglect our self-development. This doesn't mean that we escape accountability. This doesn't mean that we're just cruel and atrocious people that are cycling the cycles of abuse that we experience. No. Because what is the witch? The witch is the healer. The witch is the seer. As you see yourself, and I know you do see yourself because you're here on this video, you're here on this channel, and you are doing the work, because it's never done, right? But this doesn't mean that we stop. As you're seeing yourself and you're seeing the nuances and the darkness and the shadow parts of yourself, and you're accepting those parts, and you're now braiding that into your light, and you're making the unconscious conscious, you're becoming integrated, you will be feared. Because people can no longer prod at your shadow and get you to react, to get you to step out of character. Because as a witch, you can see clearly into others as deeply as you see into yourself. You can see people's motivations. You can see that people want to have access to your energy because you have great foresight. You have great intuition. You can see also when maybe you give from a place of reflex versus the place of overflow. Now, it's very important that when you're feared and hated on, you do not internalize this, okay? And I know this is so hard, especially if you come from very communal cultures or you've been trying to open up and create community more. I know it is very difficult not to breathe in people's beliefs about who you are and how they see you, especially if you're getting comfortable with this witchy energy of yours. Because the witch wound in everyone, in yourself, in the people that are fearing you, is about demonizing the self-sourced woman. A self-sourced woman does not need the approval of the tribe to feel powerful, to practice her magic, to practice her craft, to move forward on her path. She does not need people to understand her, because she understands that understanding is an in-source experience. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to overgive. You don't need to be pious. You don't need to be all of these archetypes that they tell women to be in order to be safe, to be accepted. But instead, the witch is the one that is sovereign because she takes her own energy and she creates a world that is safe for herself. You then become the archetype. You become the channel of light. You become the channel also of your darker energy, which is part of the witch archetype. It's not being afraid of your shadow, right? If you're feared, if you're hated on, then those are also moments to not internalize people's fear of you, to control you, but also to reflect on what are some shadow aspects of me that are getting triggered in this moment. Am I feeling some perhaps desire to people please? Am I caring too much about being cringe? Am I tapping into this energy of being a perfectionist to protect myself from falling from grace or these pedestals? That's the shadow work that happens, right? Those are the emotions to really inquire into versus listening to all of the fear mongering that's happening around you and being hated on. Because let me tell you, good attention, bad attention, attention is energy. Where energy goes, currency flows. So if you're being hated on, use that to funnel it into projects that you want attention on. Use it on ways to, again, cast what feelings are coming up for you, so that way you begin to heal that. So fear is not something that any woman should internalize when people are projecting that onto you, the hate, the whispers, all of these things. But instead, fear from people is a really good symbol and signal to use it to your benefit, to direct attention towards something that you want, and also for you to direct that attention to, how am I feeling in this moment when I'm getting a lot of attention on me? Like, am I just trying to get good attention, or am I okay with good attention, bad attention? I'm still sovereign, I'm still here, I'm still moving forward in who I am, and I'm being truthful in my power. Because I know that we can romanticize what being a witch is and just having these cauldrons and it's Halloween and we're being spookier and we're being in this dark feminine, and it becomes very performative. To be a true witch is to be sacred, sensual, sovereign. And what does that look like? A woman that has a regulated nervous system, a woman that feels comfortable in her body. Her body doesn't have so much inflammation. A woman who the people around her she can trust, and they don't just extract from her, but they also pour into her. A woman that feels comfortable saying no. That is a clear boundary. A woman that can own her mistakes. A woman that also has wealth and stability that is reflective of what she values. A woman who creates a career and crafts things that are in her image, not just what she's been told. That is a woman of magic. And we could put any type of label on it, right? And I feel as though there's lots of women that are in religious practices or political practices that are doing this, but they don't take on the label of witch. But they will still get the pressure, the judgment, the fear that a witch would, because she's powerful. So the word witch is just a word to define a powerful woman in motion. It's just to try to contain and understand what she's doing, right? She has to be using candles, and she has to be manipulating people, and she has to be having like a fake body underneath all of that. And she must have got to her form through unconventional means, or someone must be bankrolling her lifestyle. When maybe this is just a self-governing woman. Maybe this is just a woman who refuses to accept abuse. Maybe this is a woman who knows how to transform deeper, darker emotions that she has experienced in life and through her lineage. And she has chosen the path of the enchantress, the path of the magician, the path of the seer, and can transform that energy into things that is her heaven on earth. That woman, again, will always be feared. Because I want you to think about any sacred texts. When they come in the presence of a supernatural being, it's usually this very contrasted experience. People freak out when they see the angel. People bow when they see the angel. People connect. People feel relief. People are feeling their own internal experiences of what they would feel when they're in the presence of someone who has tapped into a higher energy. And their conscience starts to come up. And their actions start to come up, because now they're just like, oh wow, I've been a very devout person to compassion and kindness. So when I'm in the presence of someone that's supernatural and I can sense that they have power, I feel good, because I know that I've been living by my morals and my values and my goodness of what I design it to be good. So I'm just like, oh, finally, right? When someone knows that they have been abandoning their truth, not what other people told them, and they have been cutting corners and they have been abandoning themselves throughout the path, when they come in the presence of a woman who is self-governing, oh baby, they are going to project everything onto you. If you are someone that is doing well for yourself financially, you are someone that maybe people saw you when you weren't, and then now they see you in like a stable way, they're going to project onto you, she couldn't be doing that for herself. She's just, again, someone's bankrolling her lifestyle. She is a trust fund baby. She is this, she is that, she's all these things. And the first thing usually that they go after with women is our sensuality and our sexuality. Because for the past 2,500 years, that has been the quickest way to get women back into submission, to get women back into obedience, because that is a projection of people not being able to control and to connect with their own sexuality and to not have discipline with it, right? So again, that's a projection onto the woman. And sexuality, again, is one of the best vehicles to whip you into shape, right? Especially if you are a woman who you're very relaxed, you're very calm in your body, you're very connected and disciplined with your sexuality, you understand who you are, you don't need to perform it for anyone at all. You're not in that seeking space. People will have a lot of opinions about why you do that. People have a lot of opinions about how you get successful. People have a lot of opinions. When people are not hiding from themselves, when people are living in their truth, when people are okay to be seen, they don't freak out when there's a powerful woman in front of them. When they are ready for power, trust me, they will adore you. When they're not ready for your power, they will fear you. They will feel almost underneath your spell of clarity. And they will then begin to project onto you instead of going within themselves to really understand, why do I fear this woman that is sovereign? Why do I fear a woman that has her independence? Why do I fear a woman that does not need me, but instead wants me as a friend, wants me as a business partner, wants me as a romantic partner? They don't need me. So why do I feel like I need this woman to feel submissive to me? You know, that's a different topic for another day. When you're constantly getting projected onto, this is a form of people having that compulsion for the witch hunt, finding that compulsion to not take accountability for their lack of control in their lives. So they now need to control you. They need to subdue you. They need to understand you. And what did I say earlier? Understanding is an internal job. This is something that has to go within them. You don't need to explain yourself. You do not need to ask for public forgiveness. You don't need to have any shame around your past or what your goals are for the future. You don't need to tell anybody, right? Because if you desire a life of luxury, if you desire a life of stability, if you desire a life where you feel good in a certain size in your body, that is no one's business. Your energy, your power is your business. No one else's. And when people are in your business, then you might as well use them energetically to funnel your business to higher heights. And let's add a little bit more fire to the flame, okay? To really get you into enjoying the heat that you get from that projected witch wound onto you, okay? And to use hate and fear and negativity as a resource and affirmation that you are on the right path, you're going, you're moving, it's happening, the tables are turning, okay? Is that historically the word witch also was used as a label to put onto a woman, especially if a woman had land and resources that were her own. That label alone, that word, you call a woman a witch, now the state, the church has access to that land and all the resources. All that work that she did, all of that transmutation, all of that effort, all of that time was now gone and put into the hands of someone else. So you see how that envy and that jealousy of feminine divine energy, her capacity to transform, transmute, to find that stability, that ability to take a dream, make it into reality, was all gone with one word, witch, okay? And so now a lot of times people won't even say the word. They'll just physically react in that way to try to take things away from you. So this is why I see that meme online where it's like, girl, you're worried and bothered about someone not texting you back? Like, other women out here are like Genghis Khan and we're trying to get land and resources. If you're not in that modality now, get in that mindset now. Because if your energy is more focused on people fearing you, not accepting you, whether it's online or IRL, you are worried about the wrong thing, and that is your internalized witch wound around being safe. That you are so conscientious of being burned at the stakes because of the reality that you live or that you desire, that is where your energy and attention is going towards, is more towards the things that are going to drain you versus shifting it and being like a Genghis Khan right now. I know, I'm a very bloodthirsty warrior, but with all this astrology, I feel like we can have a pass with that for now. Shifting that energy more towards get your resources in order, get your body and health in order, become the new archetype. Who cares what other people think? Because at this moment in time where history is at, the witch will now transform back into the enchantress. She will now be in a place of being respected because she did not listen to the chaos. She did not listen to the noise. You did not listen to other people's projected fears around you being able to govern and be sovereign in your life. So get that land back that was taken from you, okay? And I'm saying this in an energetic way. Get that power that was taken from you. Get that courage to trust yourself again, to rebuild again. So that way, as you do this, this is divine justice. This is retribution. And have no shame. Have no, I would even say, but this is my Scorpio moon. Have no compassion for getting yours at this current moment. Because perhaps when you were underneath that spell of feeling that fear and wanting to feel safe with people, I want you to remember how people treated you, how they saw you, how they spoke about you, how they tried to keep you in those witch hunt trials energy where the group of people looked at you and critiqued you and shamed you and did all these things. I want you to remember that and then find divine justice within your own essence and your energy and your frequency, and have no compassion. Move forward. Move forward and find the women that are in alignment with you. Move forward and trust that the more that you step into your agency, this also heals everyone who tried to keep you in those comfort patterns of safety and security, which were actually outdated spells that were internalized to keep women away and fearful of their own power. Okay? So get your money, get your body. There's other videos on my channel about this. So that way you can feel confident in your magic, in your transmutation energy. So another topic, this will be our final one for this video, that everyone always asks me about is about sensuality. They can feel that I'm a sensual person, I'm an expressive person, right? I'm an expressive woman. And also because of that, I've experienced a lot of fear of my sensuality and my comfort in it. And I've been projected onto so long. And maybe you've experienced this, right? Since you were little. She's gonna be a heartbreaker. She is a man eater. She is cold-blooded. She is X, Y, and Z, right? I'm just clear. I am abundantly clear about what my boundaries are when it comes to my body. And I'm very grateful that my family drilled this into my brain from a very young age. There was no shame around my sensuality. So when I start to see people project that onto me as a form of control and them trying to understand how I move and how I have power over my energy, my emotion, and how I can elegantly move through very sticky situations, how I find beauty with just pouring my tea, lighting candles, creating content. I live a sensual life because I live for myself. I live for my essence, as every single person should. Because when you are living in your essence, then you feel more abundant. You feel healthier. Just your presence and how you live with yourself creates art and experience all around you. You become the muse for everyone else to live better. You know, like, I understand that as sensual women, our gifts have not been seen as valuable, right, in the market for a very long time, but now they are starting to be valuable. And it's not your sexuality, babe. It's not you wearing low-cut shirts and showing your butt, which I love that too. That's power. That's power. Whatever you find is powerful for you. But our sensuality is also the way that we move our bodies, the elegance of it, right? The way that we articulate our words, the way that we move through very tense conversations. That's sensuality, right? Sensuality through a patriarchal witch hunt lens was diluted into just objectification of your sexuality. You were just a sexual woman. You were just a lustful woman. Why? Because people are feeling lustful around you. Their fear of not being able to control their lust, their desires, their behaviors around you. So this is why they will shame you. They will say you're confused. They will say that, again, all those other names, right? Like, words are spells. Words have meaning. Words direct attention and frame psychology. So it's very important to listen to the words of fear that are being casted on you. And maybe you even can look at your past history and what have been the labels that people have put into you and have you played into them. You know, have you taken them on and internalized them and sexualized your sensuality? And as witches, and I use that word so loosely because I feel like that doesn't define the essence of what women do. That essence is being a magician, being an enchantress, being a woman who commands time, space, and presence without even opening up her mind. She's quite literally configuring the electromagnetic field through her heart, through her mind, through her body in lifetime, right? So I pray that you see your sensuality, how you dress, how you speak, how you move in a room, how you craft your morning, how you ground your emotions, how you articulate your value at a board meeting or through a business negotiation, how you express yourself online is in alignment with your sensuality, is a reflection of how you want to experience your energy in the collective, right? That is sensuality. That is a woman in her magic. That is a woman that cannot be controlled. That is a woman that lives to her standards, her frequency, and she starts to transform the frequencies all around her. So to wrap all of this up, to synthesize this, I want you to just sit with yourself and reflect. Where do I fear feeling more pleasure, more of my desires of what I want, and more of my power as a woman? Where do I kind of go to those limits and then I fall back, right? Where do I allow myself to shrink my energetics because I want to feel more safe, connected, and accepted by those that are projecting the witch wound on me? And how can I start to, instead of moving from a wounded place, move from a healed place? Because a healed witch is a woman, again, who governs herself, her finances, her health, and also is a woman that lights the matches for all other women as well that are interested in this path. She speaks light, she sees clearly, not just the good, not just the bad, but she speaks the truth. So that way we can lift up the way we see the power of the woman and the divine feminine. All right, my loves, I pray that this lit all of the light in your heart, in your mind, and you take control of being the witchy woman that you are, whatever you identify as. Yeah? So put in the comments section, what is a way that you are going to amplify more of that magic within your life? How are you going to do it in a real concrete way and not engage more with the wound, but instead really take this into your hands to transform it into your power, into a place that feels secure for you. All right? I'll put in the comments sections ways that you can join my Oracle Circle. We're over on Patreon where I do lives. We do this type of style. It's live. You get to connect with me, ask me questions. And I'll also put in the descriptions other ways that we can build with one another. I love you. I love you. Stay spooky. Stay weird. We need you weird. Bye, darlings.